Sorry, adjusting things. I apologize.
You don't have to apologize for
Sorry.
adjusting things.
Stupid freaking bras are annoying.
Jeepers, Erica.
I know.
You can't adjust yourself.
I apologize.
And
Okay.
Elmo's not allowed to go to the toilet, you know?
No one's allowed to go to the bathroom. I
No more
can't fix my bra. We're done.
Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's definitely not official. Official, unofficial, official, unofficial, official, unofficial. It's guest.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Official Unofficial New Girl podcast. I am Erica, your host, and with me today is Al. What's up,
Hello.
Al? How you
How's it
doing?
going?
It's
Going
going.
good.
Good. And my other host, Ben.
What's up?
Hey, Ben, what is going on?
So much is going on. It's great.
So much is going on. You're right. Today we're here to talk about episode 3 of season 1, New Girl. This episode is called Wedding. And this one is one of my favorites because it is super, super relatable because I can't tell you how many times I have been that fake girlfriend at a wedding. So this is super awesome. This episode originally aired October 4th, 2011, was written by Donick Carey and directed by Jason Weiner. So this one is a lot of fun. It pretty much starts out with Nick and Schmidt sitting on Jess's bed while she tries on a bunch of different dresses. It's kind of hilarious because she brings out all of these super ugly dresses, and it's really, really funny. And finally, she comes out in this really, really pretty one. And they're all like, wow. And actually, it's one of my favorite lines from Schmidt, which is, who let the dirty slut out of the slut house? And then, yeah, it's a great line. It's a great line. It's fantastic. But Jess comes out and she has in these super awful, hideous teeth in her mouth. And they just all make fun of her for basically being Jess. So this episode basically just takes place at the wedding the whole time. So, and the reason Jess is pretending to be Nick's girlfriend to keep him away from his ex, Caroline, who we've already encountered in episode 1. So, this episode really, really that's the key point of this one. We want to keep Nick away from Caroline. So obviously Schmidt has his goal at a wedding, which is to find somebody to have sex with. Big surprise. Now, there is a girl we meet pretty early on in the episode named Gretchen, who he has had past encounters with, but he wants to try to find somebody new this time. She has a new pantsuit, which they both seem pretty excited about. Lots of legroom, apparently, or something along those lines. So then we see Nick and Jess sitting down, and that's the first time we run into Caroline at the wedding. And she comes over to see Nick, and Jess kind of makes sure that Nick is all over her. And when she's introduced to Caroline, she makes it so that she thinks she can't hear Caroline's name right, which is a fantastic tactic to make sure that Caroline gets jealous. Now,
Great performance by Zoe Deschanel.
It's a fantastic performance, especially at the end when she calls her Carol. That is just, I think, on the cake. It's such, I mean, I don't know if either of you have ever had the friend to play the fake girlfriend, but that is, it's a good ploy. Really, really
Rule
is.
number one. Rule number one.
Exactly. So we get through the wedding. Caroline's already a bit jealous, we can tell. We get to the reception. Now, obviously, Nick's going to talk to her there too, of course. And we see Jess try her hardest to get him away from her because this is when she realizes that she's made a mistake, thanks to Schmidt and Winston letting her know that this is just how it goes with those two, that she can't let Caroline get close to him because Caroline knows that she still has a hook into him. I think we all have had an ex that's had a hook on us for a little while afterwards. So it's a pretty relatable thing. And running into the middle wedding is not always the best thing. But we also see, so Jess just tries to get him to come out and dance with her. And it's pretty hilarious because, obviously Jess being Jess is going to be one of those fun dancers at a wedding. And, we all have to have a little bit of fun at weddings and dance like goofballs and stuff like that. But this is the point where Winston, I think, really shines in this episode because we already know he's a little upset as his usher duties were a little overtaken by a little young man.
He got ushered blocked,
He did get ushered blocked. Absolutely.
Big time by a 12-year-old.
And now he's about to get dance blocked by the same small child. So we have the DJ announce that there's a dance off, and Winston really goes for it here. He really, really does go for it. And that little kid, can dance, man. He can dance. But Winston goes a little overboard, I would say, a little overboard, because he really feels like he needs to nail this usher job because it's his first big gig since he's come back from Latvia from playing professional basketball over there. So, professional Latvian basketball player. Yeah, okay. But he goes a little overboard and upsets the small child and quite a few other people, I think, to say the least. So we really see Caroline flirting with Nick to continue to go. They are in the photo booth together, and she makes a mention of, can't we just stay here all night? Oh, it's the, I think all exes have played that card before, especially when they know they have someone still a little bit on the line. Yeah, I think so. We see Schmidt still trying to make a play for the girl he couldn't get in college because he was Fat Schmidt before. And he almost gets her. It's close. He makes her believe that he is 7 months sober. She was 6 months. He was 7 months sober. So he lies.
One more, he says. One more.
One more. One more. That's right. One more. So he tells the bartender he's going to need a water bottle full of vodka to meet him in the bathroom because he really wants to take this girl home, but he needs her to believe that he's actually been sober for 7 months, which is kind of hilarious. So he finally convinces her that, he sees Jess, and Jess is like going crazy, and he tells her that, that there's a past there, and she's a little like crazy and stuff. And she's like, we need to get you out of here. Oh, we need to get you out of here. Let's go. And, so he's finally like, yes, I've got her. I don't have to go home with Gretchen tonight. This is exciting. So she goes in the bathroom where she runs into Jess, who is trying to cut off her biker shorts, which are the only underwear she could wear underneath that very small dress, which, again, I don't think I can say relatable enough when it comes to this show, because girls, we've all been there. Sorry, boys. Yeah. So she's in the bathroom with this big cake knife trying to cut off.
I wanted to ask Erica, sorry, but how does that make sense? How does the biker shorts?
So that
went over my head.
That dress is very tight around everything, and those biker shorts are just gonna suck it all in, all the way up to like past your belly button. So they're kind of like, so some pantyhose hold everything in. Those biker shorts are gonna do it like times 20, basically.
Right.
So they're just kind of gonna hold you all in this, especially since they're little girls' biker shorts. So they're not even like adult biker shorts; they're little girls' biker shorts.
Right.
That's comfy.
Oh yeah, terribly comfortable, I'm sure. Ooh, no, thank you. So she's in there trying to cut off these biker shorts. And she sees the girl walk in, and I love this part. It's fantastic, where she goes, "Schmidt's fond of you," with the knife, not even thinking that she's waving a knife at this girl. And then if you hurt him, you're gonna have me to deal with, and I have to go confront my pretend boyfriend, all while waving this knife around. And it's hilarious. It's probably one of my favorite parts of at least this episode, if not the whole season for sure.
I love her line of, girl stuff.
Girl
The way-
stuff, exactly. It's just girl stuff.
That
This is
tone,
what
it's so
happens
funny.
in girls' bathrooms, right? We cut off biker shorts on the sink, and we wave knives at each other, threatening them. If you hurt
more
my
you know.
friend, the more you know. Exactly.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, so Jess ends up coming out of the bathroom and confronting Nick and Caroline in the photo booth, and going, "What about our baby and our other baby?" And Caroline admits that she actually has a boyfriend, which obviously shocks Nick because she didn't bring the boyfriend because she didn't want to upset Nick, which is terrible, 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 terrible ex-girlfriend things when you have your ex on the line. See, it all brings it back. Caroline knows she has him on the line. She's bad. Caroline's terrible. I don't like Caroline at all. So Nick decides to lock himself in the photo booth with a bottle of whiskey, as you do when you're upset by your ex-girlfriend at a wedding, right? No, I haven't been there. I can't say I've been there. Nope, sorry. And even though Jess has upset everybody now, because obviously Schmidt's not going home with the hot chick from college. And she goes and sits over the table by herself, and everyone's yelling at her, and Jess is back. She decides she's going to go have fun. Screw the rest of you people. She's done. So she's going over and she's blowing bubbles at the table, and Winston comes over to her and starts blowing bubbles with her, and tells her that even though the rest of them won't say it, they're all glad that she's there, even him. And it's a nice moment. And then she goes and talks to Nick and convinces him to come out of the photo booth, which is great. He goes and has a nice talk with Caroline, tell him, he can't do this anymore, which is hopefully good. Good for him. He needs to unhook himself and get back out there. Then finally he goes back over to Jess, looks at her and says, "Come on." She gets up. And as they discussed earlier in the episode, Jess likes to do the chicken dance a little differently than everybody else. So they all start slow dancing to the chicken dance. And after, they're going to do this and this. And then she likes to do a slow cluck instead of doing the dance the right way.
Yep.
So then we end the episode with Schmidt being tied to a bed by Gretchen, obviously. Obviously, looking through her 4 hours of rafting photos. Yeah.
That line of the yellow helmet is
The yellow helmet. So good. So good. This episode is probably one of my favorites, again, from not only just the season, but probably out of all of them. It is a great episode, and this episode of the official podcast is going to be super fun because it's going to be a little different than the others, because I have a new fun segment to throw at you guys, and I hope you're ready for it. But I would like to hear how you guys felt about this episode real quick.
I honestly think this is Jess's episode in terms of, first of all, Zooey Deschanel's performance throughout the whole episode was fantastic. Jess becoming the real Jess, like we start to get to know better in the seasons to come. It's a great episode for Jess. So that's what I would definitely want to add to this.
It is, definitely. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, no, much the same actually. I kind of feel for me the standout's definitely Jess, Nick, and probably Winston. The Schmidt stuff's fun, but it's more of a sort of a side thing. But
Yeah.
I think just with Nick and the whole Caroline storyline, that's like I said, something very relatable. And I think some of the
Mhm.
best moments, where it's Nick getting an argument with a cardboard cutout, or when he's arguing with the girls in the booth to get out. I think, what was his line?
Mhm.
Hey, ladies, want to see a grown man cry?
Yep, yep. It's so good. Also,
Oh yeah.
when he's crying to the camera when they're trying to record videos for the newlyweds, and it's
Yeah.
just him like being completely sad and just utterly hopeless. And yeah, the guy's like,
Mm.
"Come on," and he's like, "Here's some money, just shut up and go away." Yeah, it's very high key Nick Miller, absolutely for sure.
Yeah.
It's the whole. There is so many relatable moments from so many characters in this episode, just from like I said, I know I have been the fake girlfriend at weddings for a lot of my friends, but also I have been the I've had too much whiskey at a wedding person, and I have been the oh we've hooked up at a couple weddings before person. I mean we like yeah, there's just every character in this episode has some kind of relatability, at least for me in this episode, and it's just from start to finish a great episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Gotta
hey,
give a
let's
shout out to Jess's line, probably the slut butler in her British accent.
probably the slut. Yes,
Probably
that
the
is.
slut butler.
Yes. Who let the dirty slut out of the slut house? Probably the slut butler. Yes, absolutely. Such a fantastic line. It is great. But let's get
Another
in. Oh, go ahead.
another great Jess line for me personally was when Jess goes up to Winston towards the end of the episode and says, "When I was stuck in a freak sandwich between you and that 8-year-old,
Yes.
you want to talk about that?"
Yeah, that's
was
so
phenomenal.
fantastic. That's so great. And honestly, those are two things we are going to talk about again before the end of this episode. So, but for now, let's get into this really fun segment I want to talk about, especially for this episode, because there was so much great music in this episode. So, we are going to do a little rate the songs. So, there were 6 big songs in this episode, and I want to talk about them. So, we have Dancing with Myself by Billy Idol, Modern Love by David Bowie, Do You Want To by Franz Ferdinand, I Love You for Sentimental Reasons by Nat King Cole. That was the song that the Mr. and Mrs. entrance song. Chances Are by Johnny Mathis, which is when Winston and Jess were talking, and A Groovy Kind of Love by Phil Collins, and that's when they were all doing the chicken dance. So these are all fantastic songs. They're all great songs. And I just think I just want to have a little bit of fun while we rate these songs. So, Al, let's hear your rating of these 6 songs.
Well, just right off the top of my head, I'm going with Dancing with Myself being number 1 here, only because hearing that riff just made me very happy watching the episode. And you gotta love Franz Ferdinand and Bowie, of course. Phil Collins, maybe. Yeah, I would say Dancing with Myself is number 1 for me. Then Modern Love. Then Do You Want To? And A Groovy Kind of Love. And then the Johnny Mathis song. And then maybe the Nat King Cole song.
Yeah. I like it. What about you, Ben? How do you feel about these 6 songs?
I gotta go Bowie. I love Modern Love. It's quite
Absolutely.
a lot different to a lot of other Bowies. It's a lot more pop, and I love it. It's so
Yeah.
good. 2, gotta go Billy Idol. Franz Ferdinand, number 3 for me. Then I'll rate Phil Collins pretty high on my list here, And then we've got well, he's relatively okay. He's in
He
there.
was my number 4.
Okay. I'm just not talking crap about him. That's
Oh,
I've seen him
good.
live in concert. He was pretty good. He was barely able to stand, but he was pretty
Yes.
good.
Nice.
Then Nat King Cole, and then Johnny, last one. Yeah.
And Johnny. Yeah, I think my list is probably going to be relatively the same as you guys. I am going to put Billy Idol Dancing with Myself number 1. I'm actually going to put Phil Collins at number 2, though. A Groovy Kind of Love. I'm a big Phil Collins fan, and but see, this song is special, and I'm going to tell you why when I'm done with my list. I'm going to put Groovy Kind of Love number 2, David Bowie number 3, Do You Want To by Franz Ferdinand number 4, Nat King Cole at number 5, and then Johnny Mathis at number 6. A Groovy Kind of Love is going to pop up again in this series at some point in time. I'm not going to tell you when, Fans of
Ooh.
the show will know, but we will talk about it again at some point in time in this series. I promise you that. So look
Ooh.
for that later in this show because I promise you it will come back kind of like the Jamboree shirt. It will be back. So
Can't wait.
I know. I'm so excited. It's definitely coming back, though. It's definitely coming back. So, but that brings me next. Like I said, those two things that you guys talked about, they would be talked about again in this episode, which brings me to my next point, the douchebag jar. So, my line from Schmidt this episode is, "Who let the dirty slut out of the slut house?" Now, I know and it's funny because so it was obviously he was talking to Jess about how he wanted her to look for this wedding so that, she could keep Nick reined in away from Caroline. It was when she was trying on all these dresses for getting ready for the wedding. And he went, "I want to know who let the dirty slut out of the slut house." And that's when she went, "Probably the slut butler," which is absolutely hilarious. It's one of the best lines. But yes, that is going to be my douchebag jar line of the show for this episode. Absolutely 100%. I don't think it gets better than that one this episode. So, what about you guys, Ben? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, there aren't actually a lot in this episode. I noticed. I think for me it would be the yellow helmet comment when he sort of hit that rock bottom. He's back where he doesn't want to be. He's going through the slideshows with her, and all we can think about is the yellow helmet and how disgusting it looks.
Mhm. That's fair. That's a good one. What about you, Al?
I have a strange one for this episode. It's not so much a douche jar comment as much as it's a very funny line for me. Is when he's sneaking drinks at the bar and Gretchen picks up his drink and just downs it,
Mhm.
and Schmidt says, "Oh God, it's like you're lapping it out of a puddle." That who says that? I don't know.
Yeah,
To me,
that is
that's very Schmidt.
that is a very good line, and it is extremely Schmidt. I agree with you 100%. I think it's a fantastic line. That is a good part. And I think I love the actress who plays, and I can't remember her name. Um, I love the actress that plays Gretchen. She's fantastic, and she plays that role so well. And those two just work very, very good on screen together. And that just relationship dynamic between the two of them is fantastic in this episode. So I think any interactions between the two of them definitely deserve some kind of pointing out. So that's a very good one.
Natasha
Um,
Lyonne is the name that I also
Natasha,
couldn't remember. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that is
yeah.
her. She's just fantastic. She's very good. So
She's in like Orange Is the New Black and American Pie, right? Is that
yeah,
the one?
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a bunch of things she's been in. She's very good. She's super talented. I really like her a lot.
Mhm.
So next though does bring me to our favorite boy, Winston. And I want to know one thing.
What's up, Winston?
That's right. What's up, Winston? My what's up, Winston moment from this episode, though, is definitely when he goes back to the table to talk to Jess. Um, when he tells her that he loves bubbles too, and they just sit there and blow bubbles together. It's such a sweet moment. It's so fantastic just to see how much their relationship dynamic has grown, and just for him to tell her that, the boys really do appreciate her being around. It's a very sweet moment and I really love it. And I think that's my favorite What's Up Winston moment from this episode. So, Al, what do you think?
That's the one I picked.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the one that you picked actually for last episode. It's very much a turning, I don't know, it's like seeing Winston be on a different level maybe from the rest of the boys.
Mhm.
Just to an extent, I don't know, but it's very nice to, or at least maybe see him acknowledge that, like something that maybe the other boys might not always acknowledge towards Jess.
Yeah.
It's very nice to see that.
Mhm. How do you feel, Ben?
Yeah, and I've got exactly the same. You're both copycats here. So that's what I've got. I've got the I Love Bubbles scene heart to heart with
Love
Jess. So I
bubbles.
think
Yeah.
kind of like Al said, I think because he's coming a little bit later than the other two,
Mhm. Yeah.
he can actually see the dynamic. And from what obviously they were prior to him being away to coming back, he can see obviously, what kind of impact Jess has had on their lives. So it
Mhm.
was pretty cool to get that scene, that nice heart to heart moment
Yeah.
where
It
he
is a good
does tell
one.
her that that she is important to them and she's obviously having a good influence on them. And yeah, no, that was a great scene.
For sure. It is. It's a great scene. which really it does kind of flow into my true American MVP of the episode, which is definitely for me, Jess. Jess is the hero of this episode. She really wrangles Nick out of his little slump. She really pulls him away from Caroline, shows him that he really just, what he needs to see in this episode, I think. And at the end, I mean, all of them doing the chicken dance together with her, during the Phil Collins song. I mean, who else are you going to do that with other than the MVP of the episode? It's Jess for me. Gold star for her.
That's proof that she's the MVP. The fact that all the boys are just going along with her chicken dance.
Yep.
For a change.
I'm going to give it MVP just for the line. I barely sleep, so much doing it.
I barely sleep, so much doing it. Yeah, that's such a good line. She does. She really hits it out of the park this episode.
Absolutely.
From having to even just pretending to be his girlfriend and then really just like snapping him out of everything to just, she really pulls it all together in this episode. She does a great job. It's fantastic. And now we have Nick's tips. My Nick's tip for this week is going to be when he tells Winston, he's just a little boy. I mean, Nick had a rough episode, but he still had some good points this one. I know Winston kind of freaked out over the little kid, especially during the Usher moments. But yeah, I think that's going to be my Nick tip for this week, is when he just tries to get Winston to relax over the fact that it's just a little kid and he's going to be okay. So what about you, Ben?
Oh, there's so many good moments. I think for me, it's when Nick's in the photo booth, Jess comes in and he says, "This is my home now. It's got everything I need."
Yes, that's a good one. He gives her a tour of the kitchen area and everything.
Exactly.
So fantastic.
He's very polite showing around,
Very nice.
Yeah, so that'd have to be mine.
Good
mine would be when he believes that he has succeeded in making Caroline jealous, and he says, "Oh my God, was she jealous? I think she was jealous. You did so good. That was remarkable." Just that to me is very relatable in terms of someone who's desperate to get someone jealous.
Yes, definitely. Nick had many good tips this week, which, hey, reminds me, hey girl, what you doing? So, hey, this week, I want to know, hey Al, what you doing?
Trying to find some Halloween candy for Halloween. I'm not even sure kids are going to be trick or treating, but it's very hard to shop for candy in this pandemic. So I've just been having trouble with that a little bit.
I haven't had any candy corn yet. It makes me sad.
Candy corn is a must, I think. Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, definitely.
That's what I've been doing.
Also, we need to know one other thing too, which is Jake Watch, which, I mean, Jake still doesn't know about us, but we're going to try.
Let me check. Hold on. I'll just get an update.
Go ahead, check.
Checking Twitter. Just checking that.
Okay.
Hold on. No, nothing
not yet. Okay.
Just checking
hashtag let Jake know, right? Hashtag let Jake know, guys. Is that what we're going with still? Okay.
Yeah.
Let Jake know. We're trying to get him on an episode before the end of the show because, I mean, it's Jake. Jake's awesome, and we want to let Jake know.
Yeah.
So Jake Watch. Currently, Jake Watch 2020. I'm sure that'll change, but Jake Watch 2020. All right, and our ratings. So how many schmitties does this episode get? I'm going to give this one a solid 9. This, like I said, I can't say it enough for this one. This episode was just fantastic. The character development was amazing. The storyline was great. I mean, it was a pretty fluid storyline, but everyone still had their own separate parts, even though it was really in one contained place. And they just continue to really show the relationships between the characters grow. And I think that's fantastic. It really shows that they can continue to make this show for a while, which is, great for me because I really love it. So I'm definitely giving this one 9 Schmitties this week. So, Al, how about you?
I don't want to give 3 solid 9s in a row, but I'm gonna have to, uh, because this one is definitely up there. Just a lot of relatable moments, real characters. Just like they don't feel written as cheesy as the show can get. Maybe sometimes these feel like real characters, and you can really tell that in particular in this episode because you see a lot of different sort of aspects of their character in this one. I think I don't know.
No, I definitely agree. How about you, Ben?
I was gonna go. I was originally gonna go 8.5 Schmitties, but that was mainly because I feel like all of them had really strong plot points, except for probably Schmidt's storyline. I didn't really gel with that much. Didn't know if it was a standout performance from him, but then I remembered how amazing the soundtrack was. So we're going to bump that up to we're going to go to a 9 again for 3 weeks running. Nine
Mhm.
out of
Soundtrack's so
10
good.
Schmitties. So good.
Soundtrack's so good. Awesome. Well, hey, that is an average of 9 out of 10 Schmitties for this episode. I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to
Yeah.
say this was a really good
Oh, yeah.
episode, y'all. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in this week. I just want to let you know that we are releasing our Patreon in November 2020, no matter when you're watching this, so you know. We're going to have a lot of really cool stuff over there if you want to check it out. Lots of different tiers for everybody. Lots of really cool stuff. So I hope you check it out. Al, you want to talk about the other stuff we're doing?
Yeah, go to our website for all the cool links to our YouTube, our podcast feed on all the different podcast services, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that good stuff. So you can go to theoupod.com for all of those lovely links.
Mm-hmm. And Ben, what about our socials?
Yeah, so check us out at the OU Pod on Twitter. I think pretty much the OU Pod everywhere, but yeah, the easiest way is the OUPod.com.
Hit that subscribe and like button and all those fun things. And hey, we will see you next time. Until then, keep it unofficial.